You're watching Leafs Morning Take with host Nick Alberga and former NHLer Jay Rosehill. The show starts now.
What is good, everybody? Presented by Betano. It's time for the Friday edition of Leafs Morning Take. Nick Alberga and the returning Jay Rosehill. How's it going, Rosie?
Friday. Yeah, I'm just checking out the schedule and just dumbfounded by the NHL's logic these days. I don't get it.
So the backstory behind that, I think this, how many years have you been on Earth?
38 good ones.
And I guess 38, you have been unaware of this thing called Black Friday after the real Thanksgiving.
Oh, forgive me. A contrived shopping fucking spree means the NHL needs to adjust its schedule. Silly me.
Hey, Rosie, that's a phenomenal segue. You see this sweatshirt right here? What do they always say? Look good, play good, feel good. Is that the line?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, now you can look idiotic like Jay Rosehill. No, great like Jay Rosehill. Unleash the darkness with the Nation Gear Blackout Collection. Embrace the bold and gear up with all new styles of our exclusive line, only available for a limited time. Don't miss out on grabbing your favorite team's gear in the baddest styles before they're gone. Get the perfect gift for your favorite fan. Order before December 10th so you can put your presents under the tree. Plus, if you spend $200 or more, you get a signed Jay Rosehill rookie card. No, you qualify for free shipping. NationGear.ca. And this sweatshirt, you can own it today. How about that, Rosie?
Yeah, it's actually nice stuff. They sent us some stuff, and I was like, oh, yeah, we're talking now. It's nice, high-quality stuff. So I will be checking some stuff out, too. And that girl looks like she's having a good time in the gear.
I appreciate you just teeing me up like I was at batting practice the other day for that segue into the transition there. Yeah, that was
Segue City, baby. So you were saying you were a little confidence was low. Confidence was lower than it normally is on this show when talking about your beer league slow pitch career.
No, it just, what do you mean by that?
You said I sucked out there, and usually you're just talking about how many dingers you hit. I was wearing a wife beater.
No, okay. Let me preface. I played baseball for a good chunk of my life. I love the people on Twitter say, stay in your lane, stick to hockey. Baseball's my number one sport. You know how frustrated that makes me. And so I hit the cages the other day. By the way, these cages were tremendous. Like, you can get fastballs, you can get curveballs, you can differentiate what height you want to be thrown at, speed. This is the first time I hit a baseball because I play slow pitch. First time I hit a baseball maybe in like 7 years. And I won't lie, like 70 was beating me. But the only problem with that, for those of you who go to cages frequently, I have a hard time picking up when the ball's coming. And you have to go through your mannerisms and like the whole prep of striding and loading. And it messes my swing up. That's why I remembered I don't go to batting cages. I prefer live pitching. So that's why I was a bit frustrated. Because then the other problem was, and I'm the idiot, I'm the loser, I put one of my swings on social media, and every baseball rat out there had to fucking break it down. So obviously,
Why didn't I see that?
Yeah,
oh,
dude, some guy, went strip by strip in the clip, telling me what I did wrong, and he's like, "Dude, you'll hit more jacks." I'm like, "I do hit jacks. I know it hit. If you go watch me play softball, the legendary Gord Stellick came and watched me play softball this summer. He saw the kid hit a couple bombs, and really, really far bombs. So, yeah, I was in a foul mood the other day.
Sweet Jesus. I went once this, what was it, maybe it was last year. We were in Florida, in California or something. We hit some batting cages. A guy I was hanging out with, family trip, was big baseball game. We went in there, and I went into the 90-mile-an-hour one. It was just fucking guessing, man. It was intimidating, and I mean, I think that thing was further away than an MLB mound. Like, I threw out a first pitch at a Jays game, and I couldn't believe how close the mound was to the plate. And that thing coming in at 90, which like isn't even like, you get up to a hundo in the show, and it was insane how fast that thing's coming. You're just completely guessing. So hats off to the guys with big batting averages in the show.
In my heyday, the fastest pitch I ever faced was like 94, and it looks like a P.
Seriously.
I mean, it's like with anything, like even hockey, the speed, like you don't know the speed of the game, the shots, the goaltending, like it can translate, but I will tell you, it looks like a P. And it was good to be back out there, but again, it's been a long time since I faced actual pitching. And this was like zoomed in there, so it was fun.
Thoughts and prayers with you, Nick.
Thank you. I appreciate the moral support. I appreciate the tee up for the segue. I wanted to tee you up with a couple things before we get to our main stories on today's show, the Black Friday edition, and we're getting set for Friday's matchup between the Leafs and the Chicago Blackhawks, a matinee affair. But firstly, we didn't talk about this last week. So over in Sweden, the Leafs, for some reason, like teams just love to screw with us or troll with us, but they go blue helmets with the white jerseys. What was your breakdown of that? Did you even notice it? Do you even care? I know people have had opinions, but I just don't know why we have to deviate from the norm. So what did you make of that?
Yeah, I think the marketing people gotta justify their job, come up with new ideas. And when I heard about it, I was like, cool, that might look cool, like some nice contrast. It looks like shit. It just takes away. It looks like makes your jersey look like a practice jersey. I mean, that's the Toronto Maple Leafs. Like, you don't dick with that too badly. Remember back in the day when they came with that TML logo?
Oh, buddy.
I wasn't like in the market, but I imagine people lost their shit, right? Like,
Yeah.
purists. But I like to keep it. I don't mind variations of jerseys and stuff, but don't mess with the Toronto Maple Leaf. You know, just like you don't mess too much with, you know, the Montreal Canadiens logo jerseys, this type of thing, unless it's a throwback to something that was done so many years ago. But I liked it originally when I heard about it, and when I see it, it just looks bush. It looks like you're mixing and matching shit. It looks like you only have one set of buckets that you can only use with both jerseys. Looks minor hockey-ish. I don't like it, but I'm not losing my marbles over it by any stretch.
Maybe I'm old school, man, but like this frustrates me beyond belief, especially in the NBA where there's like 18 jerseys. I understand why they do it. If if it makes a dollar, makes a penny, then I get it. But like I'm just so old school. Like, stop messing with the logo, stop messing with the jerseys. Just make a bit of a tinker. Like, they got a milk logo on it now. Like, I don't need variation. And that's why, like, 7 years ago, I made a pact to myself. I'm like, I'm not buying any more jerseys. I think the last jersey I bought was the James Van Riemsdyk Winter Classic jersey, and he was gone like a year later. There's a lot of turnover in the league too, and that's another conversation. But I think from that perspective, there's just no need to tinker with what works. Like, and maybe I was the old school guy who just appreciated white jerseys at home ice and the dark jerseys on the road.
Yeah, I don't mind it, man. Like, I like going to a rink and seeing, you know, something from like 12 years ago with a player you kind of forgot about, and then that version of the jersey that year or whatever. I like it. You're like, oh, cool, I remember that. And you know, some of the ugliest ones become some of the most famous. But I mean, without it, would you ever, like Vancouver, for example? They did their matte black helmets last night. I thought that looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely hate the Kings chrome helmets. It's friggin' embarrassing for the league. But they did their throwbacks, like the Pavel Bure style black with the, I don't even know what the hell it is, a skate in a sun, or I don't know what the hell that Canuck thing is, but that has got to be the wickedest jersey in the biz. And I think everyone agrees with it. And I'm pretty happy they've gone back to it for, it must be their thirds or something. I wish they'd just go full time.
Well, it's, to me, it's like everybody's trying to reinvent the wheel, and at some point in time, you forget. You run out of ideas. You run out of ideas, and that's what's happened in this league. I'm so with you. Like, some of the units back in the day just made the team, made the city, made the logo. The Vancouver Canucks need to find a way to get back to that. Speaking of finding their way, Rosie, I couldn't wait to do this show today for a variety of reasons. Among them, our producers from Edmonton, Aaron Bordato, does a fantastic job. Round of applause. But number two, I was on social yesterday getting set for this show, and I came across the Mona Lisa of hockey. This thing was beautiful. It spoke for itself. It's Connor McDavid in a Toronto Maple Leafs jersey. What do you make of that?
Ooh,
beautiful.
That's pretty. That's pretty. Hey?
How do we get one of those?
Okay, you know how this just, the Leafs just can't get it done, right? There's just something that won't get it done. It's just never quite there. The heartbreaks, the screw-ups, the close calls. That seems to be like, could that bring it together? Because I think what's holding, I don't think he wants to be in Edmonton. It looks like he wants to, you know, jump off a bridge every time I see the guy do anything with Edmonton. They seem to be cursed, dumpster fire, whatever. If you leave there, he's going to get booed forever. He's going to say you didn't get the job done. You know what would just erase all of those problems is if he goes to Toronto, they lock him in, they work on the D around him, and he just is there with the right pieces, and he is a piece that could just transcend all problems potentially, assuming you build the team properly around him. Win a Stanley Cup in Toronto, you're a god. You're a god forever, and any Edmonton problem would just be some little footnote of the past that he would never have to care about again. It's a beautiful sight to see.
Picture this. McDavid 1, Matthews 2, Tavares 3 up the middle in 2 years. What do you think of that?
Tavares, I don't know if
I would sign, like, JT's got 1 year left after this one. If he wants to take a home-friendly discount on the captain type deal, by all means, he's still a really good player, man.
Yeah, 100%. How much? Cut him in half?
Pardon me?
Cut his salary in half? 11 mil right now.
I would something around 5 to 6 mil a season for like a 3-year deal. I would do right now.
Could work. Could work.
Probably could. Yeah, Aaron's pissed. He's
poor
pissed.
Dotto and our producer's losing his mind. Keep dreaming. Fuck all you guys. You're delusional. God, I hate that. What an absolute muppet.
It felt great to torment him. You know, it also feels great. Our YouTube account is blowing up. Whoever's the producer of this show, his name's Aaron, killing it with the guests. At the Leafs Nation 401 on YouTube. If you didn't have a chance to catch Brian Burke earlier this week, has a hot take or two, so make sure you check that out, including the one where he talks about Willie Nylander, what they do with the core four, and just his breakdown of this team in general. So at the Leafs Nation 401. Again, I see a lot of you call this out on a daily basis here in the chat. It's like you're watching the show. We're 150 plus now, and nobody wants to hit that like button. So I don't know what you're doing. If you could just help us out, smash that like button. If you're not subscribed, rip it to us as well. And search Leafs Morning Take wherever you find your podcast. We'll pop up and subscribe to us right now. Brought to you by DoorDash. It's time for the appetizer. For a limited time, our listeners can get 25% off, up to $10 in value, and 0 delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app. Enter code NATION25. That's code NATION25 in uppercase for 25% off your first order with DoorDash. Offer valid in Canada, subject to change. Terms apply. So we've been waiting all week long. It happened. SPF 30 is packed. The swim trunks are packed, and John Klingberg is headed to Robidaw Island. But man, this soap opera, in the last 2 weeks alone has been insane. Okay, so the first thing we know, he's actually truly injured. By all accounts, a lot of people have spoken on this. But number two, like, a lot of people are talking about the fact this guy may never play a game in the league again. Like, that's how hurt he is.
Dude, it's the weirdest thing in the world. Like, he's going about his business 1 week, everything's good, he's playing, and you know, you're talking about the regular stuff you talk about with a guy like him, and then all of a sudden his career is over, career-ending injury. It's like, what are you talking about? How are you playing one day and your career's over? It reminds me of like the 70s where you tear your ACL and, you know, Bobby Orr style, your career's cut short and you can never recover and he might be done forever. Like, when the hell has that happened last, where a guy with, I understand they say he's been dealing with his whole career, but by all accounts, he's healthy as a horse the last couple of years, maybe.
Apparently it's nagging. It's been nagging his whole career.
Miami, done forever. And I mean, it's weird that it came out of nowhere. It's weird that it just happened within the last how many months with Matt Murray. And both of them are contracts we'd maybe prefer to get rid of. In hindsight, I wish we didn't sign them. I think it was a bad signing. I don't think Tree Living was wrong in doing it. I just think it didn't turn out well. And now that you can pop them off the books, just like we did with Murray, I mean, think of how handcuffed we would be if we still had Murray, like, playing and not playing well, or being injured in and out of the lineup. And you know, it just opens up that 4.1, I think it is, of his contract, which is pretty ideal right now. It's just like the stars kind of aligned. Absolutely. I'm not talking about him as a player. Sad to see. I'm wearing my media hat right now, not my hockey player, care about the players type of hat, but very sad for him. I'm sure he's shattered. And for anyone thinking that, oh, this is a conspiracy or they worked this deal together, dude, he's on a contract year. He has a 1-year deal. He's young enough where he could play many years in this league, still make a lot more money. He could have a resurgence with the right setup. And it's just something, I don't know, man, to come out of the woodworks like this. And maybe he was playing possum a bit, trying to hold on to another year and signing this contract. You'd think he'd try to work 2 years out of the deal, but doesn't. And then all of a sudden he's just like, guys, I'm fucked. I can't even play. And they're like, fine with us if you want LTIR it. Like, that works for all parties. I don't know, man, but it's odd to me.
Kissed 61. What happens on Robida Island stays on Robida Island. You know, the fascination for me is like, this sort of works as like a mulligan for Brad Treliving. All of a sudden, you've got like just over $4 million in cap to use, and oh yeah, you're linked to Zadorov and Tanev, and I guess to an extent Patrick Kane. But number two, like I was reading social the last couple of days, and a lot of people out there made some excellent points. So we like to joke about Robida Island, but every player that's been sent to Robida Island has yet to play another game in the league, and that includes Matt Murray, right? Stefan Robida. The list goes on and on. Jared Cowan, they never played another game. But I think it's just like, it just so happens that it's Toronto that this keeps happening to. Like most recently it was Jared Cowan a couple years ago. Same shit. He was fine one day, the next he's not, and you never hear or see from the guy again. Like it really is bizarre. You're right on that.
It is, man. Like give me someone else who just like out of the woodworks is like career over.
Jeff Finger.
Fingy.
Did you play with him?
Oh yeah, Fingy is such a beauty, man.
Can you track that guy down?
He like literally what he wants to do is go back to his cabin in, I can't remember if it's Minnesota or Wisconsin, and just be in the trees and be left alone. Like I remember sitting on the bus with him on the Marlies having some beers, and he talked about when he signed that. I think it was 4-year, $12 million deal.
Something like that, yeah.
And at the time it was so huge.
I think it was 414.
Yeah, and the second he signed it, someone chirped him on TSN. His phone started blowing up. He said, I had this black cloud over me the whole time of just negativity. He hated it, man. It was the worst thing ever. He goes, they just ran him out of hockey. He goes, I just want to, get this contract done and get the hell to my cabin. And I felt bad for the guy because he's such a quality human being. But yeah, he dealt with that too. Away he went. Lots of guys. It's odd that it happens to the Leafs all the time. I'm just happy that, it benefits the team right now. Like on the fan side of it, that, like you say, who gets a mulligan on a big D signing a couple of months after doing it? It's rare and odd, and it is what it is. So I hope we take advantage of it.
It's surreal to me that John Klingberg in Toronto lasted a grand total of 15 games. That's assuming he never comes back this year, but I'm also assuming the Leafs want to do something else with that money. So like, even, I mean, hypothetically, if he's good to go in a couple of months, they'll find a way for him not to be good to go or be like dealt somewhere.
Yeah. So what do? He's on LTIR. They say, okay, we'll use that money elsewhere. They load up the cap, and then he comes back and you can't play because you're over the cap. You just
in the playoffs you can.
Marlies. Yeah. Do it. Tampa did and be 18 mil over the cap.
Yeah. But quite frankly, he's not Kucherov. I don't know if you know that. Not. He's not Kucherov, but
interesting, man. I was just shocked. Like when they started, like they said, oh, he's hurt and it might be big. I'm like, oh, weird. I wonder, like, that's just Toronto media bullshit. And then all of a sudden it's like just everything on my feed could be done forever. I'm like, what? Where does this come from, man? And how about like the non-disclosure of the injury? Like, who cares at this point? Just tell us his ankle is absolutely mangled, or tell us his neck doesn't work. Like, what is the deal?
It's just befuddling. Like that's the best word I can use this. I said this with Stewie on Thursday. I'm like, I get it. Maybe he was injured, but that doesn't explain just the fact that we had a defenseman who was playing forward for the first 15 games of the season, right? Like people are like, oh, he was hurt. Give the guy the benefit of the doubt. I think anybody who's seen John Klingberg play the last like 3 years, even in his time in Dallas, like he was not great defensively. So that wasn't the reason why he stunk. Obviously, it hampered his play a bit, but let's not lose sight of the fact that he is not a good defensive defenseman, and people thought he was. I don't know why they thought he was, but he was always going to be an offensive guy. I think he did a adequate job running the first power play unit. That's about it. I view him as a number 7 defenseman because he can't play D.
I know, and you only have available to you what's out there during the free agent frenzy, but we don't really need that D, man. Like offense isn't really our problem. We got enough guys that onus is on them. They're taking care of. We got to shore up the D, and friggin' just beating our heads against the wall, saying it over and over again, but not exactly the $4+ million guy we needed back there. And like you say, we maybe get a little bit of a redo. I don't know where we're going to use that money, but I hope it's in some kind of a deal to shore up that back end to make this more of a playoff team with some rugged stay-at-home defensemen that are actual defensemen.
Yeah, that's fair. Danny writes in as well. That's sharp, Nick. My use of the word befuddling. Probably the first time in the last 10 years I've used the word befuddling. So I hope you appreciated that at least. No, I have used it before. You're right. It means like puzzled.
Thanks.
Wendy's is letting you win real food.
Really put that journalism degree to work there, Nick?
Can I read the promo? It's a diploma. It's not even a degree, dude. I went to college. Sorry. Anyways, Wendy's is letting you win real food with your fantasy teams this year with the Wendy's Daily Face-Off Survivor Pool. For those of you who smoke the competition, Wendy's is rewarding you with a weekly prize. It will have you winning despite your lack of team building skills. Download the Wendy's app, score yourself 150 bonus reward points on your first order, and grab a sweet victory from the mouth-watering jaws of defeat along with some fresh, never frozen beef. Again, head on over to dailyfaceoffsurvivor.com to find out more. And if you have an account, you can play over there. So it's the Leafs and the Hawks' second time this season. What do you think I'm going to talk about today?
Connor Bedard.
Him and also Trap Game and number 3. Have you been seeing what's going on with Corey Perry? Like, they can't find this guy.
Yeah, what the hell? Like, you got to be a super personal thing, sickness.
My thinking was that he was in charge of turkey for Thanksgiving. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to take a couple games off. I'm going to cook and I'll come back. But I know a lot of you watching and listening are not tapped into Chicago. I get it. But Corey Perry is like, all they're saying he's unavailable, didn't play the other night, didn't practice. Like, you think this guy just took his ball and went home?
No, I don't. I think that
he's a gamer.
I think something sad happened with his immediate family and needed his immediate attention. That would, I would guess.
But man, like, have you seen the way his teammates are talking about? They're talking like the guy's traded. It's weird. Like, there's a Nick Foligno
I read a
quote.
Couple things like, Foligno or something was like, well, we miss him. It's weird not how. I don't know. It's such
weird.
It's so funny when the hush stuff's going on. It's like just say there's a friggin' family sickness. Like, well, just put it to bed, or else everyone's just going to be scouring the organization trying to figure it out, right? Like, just give people something so they can relax. Because right now it's like it enrages people not to know what. Like, it's a huge mystery that everyone wants to solve, right? Like, why not just give a little bit?
I've never seen the Hawks cover anything up in my life, ever.
Oh God, you going back to Kyle Beach or what?
Ever. If there's one team who shouldn't pull bullshit like this, it's Chicago. It's Chicago. I wouldn't pull this type of bullshit. But nevertheless, Connor Bedard, Austin Matthews, they're squaring off against each other. Should note as well, Taylor Hall is done for the year. All I'm going to say, Rosie, the Leafs better win this fucking game. I know it's like game 18 or whatever it is. And in the grand scheme of things, what do I say about the regular season? It does not matter. But I think if you're the Leafs, you have a long memory. October 16th, it was a Monday. It was quieter than normal at Scotiabank Arena. At least they're going to be in Chicago. There's going to be some crowd volume there. You have to win this game. It is Connor Bedard, maybe Seth Jones, everybody else against a star-studded Maple Leafs roster. And again, if you recall, October 16th, a 4-1 win for Chicago. They went into that building. They won. The Leafs have to remember that, return the favor here.
I remember that too, doing this show, just being like, no way, no chance, Nick.
I called it too, man.
They did it in Arizona as well. So they have a history of doing it. What was the one kind of trap game they lost this year that was?
That was it, I think. That was it. They've actually played pretty well. I'll give them credit. Well, they got results. I wouldn't say played pretty well, but let me just look quickly.
But remember what we talked about a couple of days ago, man, like the division is thick and it's tight and you don't want to lose ground. Like, these aren't ones you want to drop when all of a sudden you're like, my God, like, it does matter who you play in the playoffs. And there is preferences and there is home ice advantage. Like, don't be dropping these ones. And they've had time to rest. Does that mean they've had time to, get out of sorts,
lick their wounds
and be rusty? It better not, man. They're better than that. But anybody can beat anyone in this league. I say it all the time, but this team is second to dead last. These Chicago Blackhawks. It'll be fun to watch Connor Bedard do his thing, but let's handle business here this afternoon.
So Sammy starts. I think this has been a great story that nobody wants to talk about because everybody tried to fucking bury the guy after 3 or 4 shit starts to start the year. But Ilya Samsonov is finding his game, which is a great development for this team because Joseph Woll has not been great the last little while.
We've said it, man. They're going to yin and yang. There's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be the one that's hotter than the other. This is standard stuff. It's just like any other player. sometimes, if you just had two left wingers that you just focused on hyper microscopically, you're going to go, wow, this guy's really hot right now. Ooh, this guy's had an off week. It's like, it's a freaking sports, man. One guy's going to be playing decent, one guy's not. All you can hope for is they both don't have a slump at the same time. Sammy went through his thing to start the year, and like we said, like hopefully he gets a win under his belt, find himself in position, figures out, what it is where he feels comfortable, and oh yeah, there it is, and he starts playing well. Then fine, Joseph Woll can have a little bit of a hiccup for a week or two, like just yin and yang, ham and eggs, switch hit that stuff, find the guy that's hot, and if one guy rises to the top for an extended period of time, then he's your starter for that entire time, for the foreseeable future, until he lets you know otherwise. Like that's why there's two goalies. It's more and more a league where you have to do that these days. It's less and less where it's like Dominic Hasek and whoever the hell else who you don't even pay attention. It's a
tandem
what
league.
It is.
Tandem league.
Who?
It's a tandem league.
Yes, tandem league, and they're doing a tandem right now, and I love it because when one guy's down, the other guy steps up, vice versa. That's what you're seeing right now, and I'm looking for. I don't think Sammy's completely out of the woods, like he's back 100p, but he's found some confidence, and I hope he builds on it again today. I understand why they're starting him.
And the first time in a while, like I actually feel pretty good about the insulation, the insurance they have in Marty Jones. Like again, I don't think Marty Jones is the best goaltender on the planet, but I know that if something happens to these guys or they want to bring in somebody else, like they have Marty Jones to sort of push them and have him be in the back of their minds, which I think is not a bad thing. I think you look in recent memory of this team specifically, there have been some guys behind them in the pecking order where they have no business being in the National Hockey League. So there's a bit of a different feel, and I think it's good to have like a healthy internal battle too. Yeah,
for sure. Insulation's a good word for that. I mean, we're fairly deep. You got your up and comer kind of stud in Woll. You got your guy that got you, some pretty good things last year, and Sammy, who's certainly capable, but still like, pushing himself to find more and to find his identity. Like, who is he? What will he be defined as? And, if things go south with performance or injury or whatever, you got some insulation there with Elliott. So it's nice. I don't think it's a huge problem, and sky's the limit for any of these guys to get hot and take the reins, man. So it's nice. The only real gaping hole I see is on the back end, and I'm sure Tree Living's hard at work trying to shore that up. So team's in a good place. Just keep rolling, keep doing your thing up front there, and get these wins like this afternoon against the Blackhawks. Keep working on yourself. Don't care about your opponent. Focus on yourselves. Play your game. Keep trying to put those building blocks together. And this is a good opportunity for them to reinforce that.
So this is good. You know who's starting the game for Chicago? Arvid Soderblom. He is 1-6 on the year. Can you guess who the team he beat was?
Oh, Arvid.
Remember that guy? That was that game. He made like 3 billion saves. That's what these no-namers do against the Leafs.
When we get goalied. Yeah. Well, retribution, man. They hopefully they remember that. Rosie. Hopefully they will watch some video. They won't have much time today, but watch some video on what happened and make these guys remember. Jesus, we lost to these guys. They want as much of a trap game it could be. They've already fallen victim to that. So let's see if they can remind themselves who they are.
So some lineup notes stemming from the Robida transaction, by the way, and by Robida I mean John Klingberg, of course. Alex Steeves recalled, 11 goals in 14 games. We talked about him the other day. So at some point, he's going to get a look. It could even happen against Chicago. That's because Kelly Yarncroke, I think, took a shot off the foot, something like that, in practice. So I think he's being coined a game-time decision. And it looks, everything looks like Connor Timmins is going to make his season debut coming off his tremendous showing in training camp.
Yeah, I'm excited for that season debut. Again, you look at this guy and you say, there's some good potential there. So I hope he comes out swinging. I hope he has a good first look at the league and getting his feet under him, his timing, his gap, everything else, positioning. I hope that he's solid and feels good and feels healthy, and that time that he was off, he used to his advantage. So it's nice to have him back. I'm going to watch him kind of intently. And a guy like Steve's coming up. I like that. Like, I like guys that are just lighting it up down on the Marlies, getting their shots, getting their chances. And, everyone notices when a guy's getting his shot, he is absolutely focused. He is prepared, and he will come out buzzing, and that kind of wears off on everybody else. So good things happening here. It all lines up for a solid start to the weekend here. Let's see how it goes, though.
Alex writes in, I'd rest Yarny today and give Steves the shot. I agree with you there. Mark writes in, Revo playing today. Anyone know? To the best of my knowledge, I don't think he's playing. I know they were slated to go with the lineup that's won the last couple games. That means Bobby McMahon in there. But again, everything could change. But I would think with the Steves recall, it's more likely he gets back in there than, say, Ryan Reeves. I think they will pick their spots with Reeves. And that's another important thing to bring up is like even the whole LTIR now with Klingberg allows them maybe to go with a longer, bigger roster. This is the first time this season the Leafs have had a 23-man roster. That's so that could help keep Reeves on the team as a cheerleader.
Yeah, for sure. I just hope he doesn't get pigeonholed too much to, the 12 times a year where, we're playing the team with the tough guy. So Reeves, you're in now. And he's running around trying to fight him right away just to prove it's like, okay, like I'd like some more consistency, but it is what it is. They're going to ride the lineup that's getting them W's, and that's not going to change. All Reeves can do is just stay ready, stay prepared, and behind the scenes be as effective as he can as far as how that locker room's feeling and gelling and how those boys are coming together, and that's more important than people from the outside give it credit for.
State of survival is Nick Alberga tradable. Unfortunately, I have the full Kyle Dubas package, which means I got what I wanted. Long term, I'm good to go. So no, I got a no trade clause. So there's your answer. State of survival. Appreciate that.
Are you tradable?
That's the question in the chat.
Well,
is Nick Alberga tradable? Everybody's tradable.
Nick.
Yeah, everybody's expendable. Yeah, Gretzky got traded, man.
Wayno got dealt. That's everyone's.
Exactly.
That's everyone's response to, and it's a good one, right?
PK Subban got traded. Shea Weber got traded.
Yes, he did.
What's the comparable
Weber,
to like modern day?
I miss Carey Price and I miss Weber and I miss that. I miss that generation. Those guys were gone too soon.
They were gone too soon, like they died. So, looking forward to Timmins making his season debut. It looks like he's going to play on the third period with Lagesson. Also, I noticed Nick Robertson's been skating on the second power play unit in favor of Yarncroke, but he wasn't playing. I guess like that's been the biggest tangible difference for me from Robertson. I think in himself, if you do recall earlier on last year specifically, like he was just shooting from everywhere. He's a bit more calculated, but I think I'd want that shot on the power play. Although it's all about the first power play unit anyways. Like, it's not like I'm gasping for somebody to make an appearance on the second power play unit. Like they don't matter in my world.
Yeah, they're kind of an afterthought and they're the cleanup crew, right? So
yeah,
if you get your shot, I mean, it's better than nothing. If you get 25 seconds, it's better than nothing. And, it gives an opportunity for a guy like him to, get that opening and boom, score a goal to finish off the PK or to finish off the power play. Right on. Good opportunities for him. So certainly better than nothing. But I do like the consistency in the lineup, especially, the fact that there has been guys up and down, guys in and out of the lineup, injuries and stuff like that. And there still seems to be a little bit more consistency than there was last year. So that's a solid thing, I think, from Sheldon Keefe. I wanted to see that. I don't like the blender deal. I never did.
Yeah.
Way too much last year. We're a week before the playoffs and we are just jumbling the lines. It's like, what the hell do you need to see, man?
That, eh?
It was odd. I didn't like it at all. So nice to see a little bit more consistency and some guys gelling. And I'm sure that's what he was always looking for, but it seemed like he never even gave him a chance. So I like the depth going on in the forwards right now.
Mitch writes in, didn't Bobby McMahon get sent to the AHL? It was a paper transaction, so he's back with the team. I can't begin to try to tell you how that works. Paper transactions, the business of the game, I'm terrible with, but I can tell you McMahon's back with the team and that fourth line's rolling, right?
Yeah, those I get confused with that too. It always changes. Back in the day, you had veteran rules, and if you make more than 105 in the minors, you got to clear re-entry and this and that and pay.
Yeah.
Oh fuck, it's all paper stuff, and it does throw fans off when you see, like, I'm sure he did. I thought he was sent down, and it's like, I wish they didn't even announce that, or I wish they didn't even have to do it if it's a complete, non-factor. Like, why even bother? And again, I can't remember. I'm sure if someone refreshed my memory, it would make sense to me. But yeah, just it throws people for a loop.
Well, that's why you have Marty Walsh, right? Or I think it was Donald Fuhrer in your day, the PA head, and then you have like players on each team who are part of the committee. Because I think there's got to be a lot of players like you and I, and even more me, where it's like, I have no clue, like some of these rules and some of the implications dollar sense wise. And that's why you have people who like, go to bat for that type of stuff, right?
Yeah, and your agents, I mean, things will happen.
Yeah.
And, sometimes the brass, like the powers that be in the lineup who are or on the team upstairs don't really even know. They just leave that to like the cap guys and stuff. So you're texting your agent going, "What the hell is this?" And they're like, they'll explain it to you, or it's one of those just one of those financial, bureaucratic, behind the scenes red tape shit that you got to go through for whatever reason. But yeah, the thing that bugs me is when you splash it across TSN, fans think that so and so got sent down or moved up or whatever.
Yeah.
But whatever, it's a non-factor.
Looking forward to Saturday night's tilt in Pittsburgh as well, the Kyle Dubas revenge game. Would there be money on the board? Like, who would even put it on the board? Would it be Brendan Shanahan because he canned his ass? Like, how does it work? Or do players even care about that type of shit? Like, would
Yeah, I
players go
don't
to the
think
game? Would you be
I don't
taking the
think going
bus
up
to the
that
rink,
high.
be like, can't believe we're playing Dubas right now? Like, nobody cares, do they?
No, they're too behind the scenes. They're too upstairs, right? They're not
Yeah.
coming down to the room to put money on the board. I mean, no, more coaches and stuff. Like you're in and out of the lineup, you're in and out of the room physically to give a speech or do your pregame or put the lineup on the board or whatever, and then you throw your money on the board. Guys like Shanny aren't wheeling in and putting money on the board, but maybe Dubas will go and put money on the board. I could see that. I can imagine he would really want this win. So we'll see. But I like Sid right now is like still a top 10 player in the
He's
league.
awesome. Yeah.
See what Ovi said the other day? Like he's not happy with these young kids not given the respect, like old man shakes fist at cloud type thing. We saved this league. And I know Crosby sure as hell saved Pittsburgh. I don't know about those two saving the whole league, but they certainly helped it, man. Those two and their rivalry is, I mean, they're the exact same age, first overall, but just far enough to not be on the same year. Imagine they were the same year. Who the hell do you take? Can you imagine that question? Who do you take? I think I know who mine is, but it's cool. They were back-to-back years, both won cups, blah, blah, blah. It's pretty special, but I watched that going, holy, he's a little bit cranky old man here, not liking the ways of the youngsters coming into the league here.
To me, it's the longevity that sets these guys obviously apart from other players of that generation, where it's been like 15, like even I know you hate LeBron, but for how good and how great he's been for so long, like the same equates to like Crosby and Ovechkin. Like these guys deserve a lot of credit, man. It's been a young man's game for like 7-8 years now, and they're still some of the better players in the league.
Yeah, and they've seen a lot of change since they came in what the hell would it be? 05,
04, I think. Yeah.
04? That was a lock. No, it would have been 04.
Because the 03 team was the best World Junior team of all time, weren't they?
Heaviest draft as well in history. Thank you very much. That's why I got bumped down to the 7th round. No question about it. But that's what I'm saying. Crosby to be top 10 player still with a lot of change. I mean, obviously he can adapt, but I mean, the game's changed, the equipment's changed, the way it's played has changed, and he's still way up there. And it's cool to see. So I'll be excited to watch him as well. It's getting to the point where when you watch these guys, you're like nudging your kid saying, soak it up, boy. You ain't going to watch this forever, because they're generational talents.
Danny wants to know who your pick actually was going to be. Like, I think you made it pretty clear.
Sid the kid.
Obviously.
The kid. His leadership qualities,
Yeah, I knew it.
Oh, God, it's just next to nothing. Yeah, Ovi could be the greatest scorer, although he's having for it being an absolute afterthought that he was going to beat Gretzky's record. Like, just in the last couple of years, it's an afterthought. It's like, what should we do when he breaks the record? It's like, fuck, he's got to stay hot at his age for a while. And it seems like when players do start to approach that late 30s, 40s, man, you can really fall off. So it's starting as his slow start was kind of apparent this year. You start to actually crunch the numbers once he loses ground, and it becomes like, that last year where he needs 30, it just might not happen. So that's kind of an interesting storyline to watch. But Sid's my pick as the greatest from that generation, no question.
Yeah, Danny wants to know mine. It's Crosby as well. And just getting back to your point about Washington, it's been a weird start for them, man. They were so shit like the first 3 weeks of the season. The Backstrom news that he might never play again. And they actually have a really good record. Like Kemper's been banged up. Charlie Lindgren's been excellent as of late, but they're finding their way. And I'm going to side with Ovechkin in terms of that conversation. Like some of the kids in the team, like rise up. Like, I don't know. And maybe it's me being old school, but like I think you can tell as a veteran in the room if your team has the chutzpah, has what it takes to get over that top. And I think Ovechkin might see that around the room and say, you know what? I've been to that summit before. I just don't see it. Maybe that's the feeling he has.
Well, I'm sure. I mean, not every team in the league believes 100% like, oh yeah, we're the team to win the cup this year. Yet there's 32 teams going balls out, so you got to have some faith and hope that things develop and whatnot. And I might be a little bit biased because of a personal run-in with Ovi at a non-disclosed location in Las Vegas.
If you recall, and for those of you who have been with us since the inception of this podcast in October, what was it, 2023 now, there was an infamous run-in that I think you shared partially on this show. You didn't tell the whole story, but you had a run-in. You had a run-in in Vegas.
I sat down at a table in kind of a back room and was ready to gamble and looked over and like double took. It was Ovi, and he's sitting there just staring at the canvas with no chips in front of him. And I was out of my mind, and I was like, "Oh, what's up, buddy?" And he's just like, "Shut the fuck up." And I was just like, "Okay, relax, buddy." And then something turned into he wanted me out of there, and I said, "I think he just lost a monstrosic amount of money is the only thing that explains it." And then I said, "Whatever." I went over and sat over at some other place, and then he came over and started talking to me. And then I just didn't kiss his ass. I just chirped him and said, "Fuck you." Like, I don't think you're God. I don't care who you are. And then he kind of smacked me in the back of the head as he walked away. And my buddy was like, "I thought you were going to come unhinged." And I was like, "No, I'm not going to get in a wrestling match with Ovechkin in the Bellagio or whatever the hell it was." So that was kind of funny. I woke up going, "Did that really happen?" And it was
did.
a little fuzzy, but it was quite the experience with old Ovi. I felt bad because I have this feeling he like lost $250,000 or something, you know.
This is like last year too, by the way. So this is recent.
2022.
Yeah,
They were in town to play Vegas, and he wasn't. I was like, "Why the hell is he out?" It was like 4 a.m, and he wasn't playing for some reason. But
I remember you called me right away. You're like,
yeah.
You remember you called me right away. You're like, you won't believe what happened. I'm like, what? And then it made sense. I looked at the schedule. You're like, I don't know if it was Ovechkin. But you're like, yeah, it was Ovechkin. The Caps are here. And I'm like, oh,
it's like, I
okay.
promise you, it was Ovechkin.
You could tell that guy from a mile away, man. He was graying when he was like 23.
Yeah, that's what I noticed sitting beside him. I'm like, fuck, he's really gray. But that was the weekend from hell that I never want to talk about again. I think that's why I didn't tell the story right away. But
you're scared.
Nothing went right there. I hate that town so much.
There's more to that. There's more to that weekend that you're not going to disclose on this show. But you thought Ovi was tilted. Rosie was tilted a bit too that weekend.
Not even from gambling, just from
other curriculars. No, that's as far as we're going to go.
Now people are going to speculate even worse.
Your wife is the biggest fucking fan of this show. Okay. Huge.
It's all right. It doesn't have to do with women or anything, really. No. She knows. It's just I just lost stuff, got robbed a bunch, just was absolutely. What happened was my buddy gave me Adderall. I've never been on Adderall. He's like, this is the greatest shit in the world. I took Adderall, last thing on the planet I need, and it was just blast off. I had no control over anything, and everything went wrong. Every decision was bad. My whole weekend was wrecked. Anxiety out the ass. I fucking hate Vegas. Sorry for swearing.
Loretti 29. This is why the show is must listen. We have to have a swear jar, by the way, because I know we took some heat last year, me specifically. I have a trucker's mouth. I always laugh when you say frickin' instead of fucking. Like, that's a thing now, apparently.
Well, I was in the shower today, actually, thinking about the show and getting it around to different people and just thinking about some older guy. You know, he's, 70 years old and lifetime leaf and doesn't like the AM radio, and his kids going, "Oh, try this podcast. And he's like, "Oh, I don't know how to run my phone." And he gets into it and hears a big F-bomb and he's just like, he doesn't like it. I'm like, maybe we can back off a little bit. But.
Welcome to 2024. Be yourself. Danny writes in, was O'Reilly's wife there? We can confirm Ryan O'Reilly's wife was not there.
No, she wasn't. If she was, I would have just been a puddle. But she was at Shenner's wedding last year, and she's just this glowing goddess, man. Oh! Move on. Let's move on.
I can't say I'd invite you anywhere, never mind to a wedding. Actually, I'd bring you as my date since I'm single. Next wedding I go to, I'll bring you, okay?
I would never mow another man's lawn, but I certainly would stand back and appreciate it.
Okay, with that, just your final thoughts on Kyle Dubas and that revenge game. Do you care? Will you tune in? Will you throw shit at the TV? Nothing changes for you?
No, I wasn't the biggest hater in the world, but I'll watch the game because it's the Penguins, because it's Sid, because I try to watch all the Leafs game just due to my job, and I'm sure the camera will pan to him several times, and we'll get to see him. Whoopty shit. It's not a huge deal to me.
This John guy in the chat's not a big fan of me either. JT never taken 5. That's a dumbass take, Nick. He actually asked that you tune me up too. So this John guy does not believe in Nick Alberga. Man, he wants me traded, maybe.
I like this John guy. Let's hear more from him.
Yeah, well, fuck you. Okay, let's roll on. Brought to you by Betano, the 2023 EGR winner for both the Best Sportsbook Operator of the Year and Best In-Play Sports Operator Awards. The game starts now. Rosie, couple bets I'm into today. Austin Matthews, anytime goal. Connor Bedard, shot prop, although there's nobody around that guy. And I think I'm going to trend towards the over in this game. Most of which Toronto's coming back from wherever the hell they were in Sweden. They're Stockholm. They haven't played in a while. But then, like, part of me is, like, twisted because then you look at Chicago. They got absolutely rinsed by Columbus the other day. I think it's going to be a wide open game. What's your feel?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have as strong a feeling on the overs as I do during any Edmonton Oilers game for the entire season. I have been mashing the over, and I mean, I should be putting my kids' education fund on it because it just hits. Yeah. They score a lot, and they get scored on a lot. But I think they're going to be buzzing, man. They haven't been playing in a while. Different feel with the matinee game. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, was that different for a player?
I fucking loved it, man. I hated game day routine. It took forever. I'm like, just drop the puck. I mean, obviously, especially if you got to fight some heavy or whatever that's hanging over your head. But like, let's go to the ring. Let's watch some video. Let's do a little loop and shoot pregame skate. You know, you just feel weird. You're just trying to get ready. You're just like, let's go. I would love to play the game during the pregame skate. Like in the American League, you'd have 11 a.m. games sometimes. I loved it. Get some breakfast, head to the rink, play some hockey, come out. It's the afternoon. You can go get a couple jugs of beer and watch some football or whatever. Yeah. But I think they're going to be buzzing, man. They haven't been playing in a while. They've been doing nothing but prep. And I think that everyone's going to be healthy, energized, prepared. Snipe show.
Okay. I full vote of confidence for me. It's time for the generous guy or gal. Generosity lives in the small things. Crown Royal, crown everything. I'll go first. So I took an Uber the other night. I was absolutely rinsed. What was it? Wednesday night. Apparently, it's the biggest bar night in America. I can confirm it was. And I didn't have you on the show yesterday. I can confirm. Kid at a night. Played a bit guilty on yesterday's podcast. But our Uber driver on the way back was an absolute beauty and had to listen to me just meander about everything for like 35 minutes. So he is my generous guy for the week.
Well, you didn't tell me I had to do a generous guy today, and I rely on you for that kind of thing.
Sorry about that.
But on the top of my head, snowed in the province of Alberta here this week. I was begrudgingly shoveling, bitching, complaining. Yeah. Did not like it. The surrounding areas around us didn't get any snow. So I didn't like it. I'm at work yesterday, FaceTime my family, and my 7-year-old has got the double whammy shovel out, just shoveling off the driveway for $2, man. What a gem. You're my guy, Rig.
You're my Rig? Guy. His name's Rig?
Rigdon. The big Rig.
That is such an Alberta name if I've ever heard one. You know, it reminded me of like...
book.
Pardon me?
I got it from a cowboy book.
Oh, sweet. You remember those shovels back in the day? Like, for some reason, they had them a lot in Montreal where I grew up for 5 years because it snowed so much. But they were like massive shovels, but you need like 2 people to shovel. Do you remember those things?
Well, if you're a bitch, I mean, I got a big one, but I do it myself.
Dude, they were like double the size of your biggest shovel. Like, it was so weird. Like, it was one of those inventions where like the person who invented it didn't think about how difficult it would have been to shovel. Like, it was huge.
Yeah, I mean, my driveway is kind of at my garage is kind of off to the side, so it's a pain in the ass to shovel. And I have that dual one, and it works great for surface area, but if snow gets a little heavy, it is a major bitch, and I really, really dislike it. So that my youngsters are coming up and starting to do the driveway. Dad's happy.
I thought you'd be snowblower guy. I won't lie.
I have one. I just fucking hate that also.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm not gonna snowblow if it's a skiff, right?
Yeah, true. That thing's
heavy.
Waste of time. Fair enough. Okay. Anything else to add before we wrap for another week? Any last shots at Ovechkin? Anything? Dubas?
I still think it's complete bullshit. We're having a matinee game because it's a fucking heavy shopping day in the States. Like, oh, so dumb. But whatever. I guess I'll hunker down. I won't play squash today, and I'll watch the Maple Leafs.
You play squash?
Fuck, it's such a good game, man.
Who do you play with?
My buddy.
Wow, that's
you don't know him?
The thing. Thank God. Now the things I learn about you on a daily basis, that's tremendous. No, squash is a real thing these days, man.
Well, I don't talk about my extracurricular sporting activities like you. Like
I thought we're like best friends.
Still got pro squash aspirations.
I do. Okay, Rosie, have a good weekend.
See you later. Oh yeah, this is it, man. See you Monday. Hopefully we get 4 big points and we're riding high, baby.
I will be back in Canada. It's 13 degrees here in Jacksonville for some reason, so I can't wait to get back home. No, I can wait, actually. I prefer it much better here. But thanks, Darren, producer Aaron. You're phenomenal. Great job this week. Everybody in the chat, you guys are great. At the Leafs Nation 401, where you can subscribe. Again, that's Jay Rosehill. I'm Nick Alberga. We'll talk back next Monday. Take care.
Everyone knew you were hungover yet.
It doesn't take $1 million donation or name on a hospital wing. This is where generosity lives.
Thank you for watching Leafs Morning Take. Hit that subscribe button and never miss a show. And for more, visit theleafsnation.com. THELEAFSNATION.com. If you don't know how to spell the Leafs Nation, you know what I mean? But hey, sometimes you never know.